course, we are expecting a lot from the Republic of Uganda to happen this year. As we're closing 2019, of course, we remember at least the three key main addresses that were given by President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Dr. Kizza Besigye, and Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi. They were all addressing the same people that they aim at leading probably after 2021 general elections. Now, there's so many stories that developed out of the discussions and the presentations that were made by these individuals. And of course, today, some of those stories are the ones that we're going to be breaking down. But as the year started, we remember that now People Power is also going to launch their nationwide consultations. Just as what happened today, President Museveni was in the villages trying to continue with his promise of the trek, remembering all war heroes that fought with him during the struggle or the liberation of the country. Dr. Besigye still stands on his ground by saying he will not leave the struggle until the struggle is over. So today I'm joined by a team of well-informed Ugandans who live here in the United States, basically in the diaspora, if I may generalize it that way, who have tried to take their time to figure out what exactly is happening in the country. Now, I'm in the studio with Badru Jami, commonly known on social media, JK. I'm sure you've seen him on different social media platforms, but he's also very formidable and informed. Sarah J. Bakanasa, Richard Myambia, and Imran Kasuja, a law student at Harvard University. So guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me today in the studio. The year has started, we are already in 2020, and so many things that have already started happening in Uganda. We normally focus here on Uganda at Crossroads, so I'm happy that you guys have joined me. Now, I'm going to go one by one just to let me know how your year is so far. We are just a number of days away from 2019 into 2020. So let me start actually today. I'm going to surprise everybody. Let me start with Imran. Imran, thank you for joining me today again. At least you were here for 2020. At least this is our first show. How is your new year so far, and how was your 2019 towards the end?
My new year is apparently not bad. Politically, we see the events that are unfolding in Uganda. There are going to be political tensions. Of course, it's expected. It's a political year because elections happen in 2021 February. So the politics is happening this year. And of course, I cannot fail to talk about the pending World War III that might happen between Iran and USA. So we are following the stories, and I'll be glad to share my views on those stories.
All right, thank you so much. I will go straight to Richard. Richard, did you enjoy your New Year's Eve and, of course, the New Year?
Yeah, I enjoyed my New Year's, but I had a very interesting story that I was watching of the reconciliation between Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and Amman Babas. Because if we see the way the life of Mr. President and everything that he's doing and everything that is on the wall, it seems that in January the NRM meeting that is going to be in Nambola, I think they might bring Amman Babas to replace Museveni as the head of the government. That's what's very interesting to me.
All right, Richard, thank you. Sarah, let me go straight to you. Your New Year so far, anything interesting or same story, same old, same everything?
Definitely. This is 2020. You can't be thinking about, whatever happened. Personally, 2019, I can't be thinking about, that's an old decade. This is a new decade. Politically, basically, you can't just throw away 2019. 2019 has given birth to 2020, of which so much is developing and so much is happening. So we're excited and ready to see what happens this year.
All right, so
the momentum is high, and people are ready for change more than ever.
All right, people are ready for change more than ever. Badru, first of all, before you come in, yesterday I saw you so much campaigning for the release of one of, famous kind of politician in Uganda, Mohamed Seglinya. Let me start from there. Is that how you wanted to start your new year, 2020?
Thank you, Dave. Thank you for your invitation. 2020, it's a year of determination. 2020 is a year that Ugandans are going to be deciding who the next president is going to be by 2021. because the political trend that is going to be unveiling this year, this is the year that we're going to make. This is the year that we're going to make everything possible. Either we front the right candidate that we want to be the president of the Republic of Uganda, or we should be deciding exactly what to do this year. Going back to the honorable that was arrested at the airport, Honorable Segirinya, we managed to put up a big fight, and he's now a free person, but he was beaten up. As you know, the dictator, how the dictator operates, the gentleman was beaten up, and he's recovering, but so far the tension is too high in 2020, and we should expect that the revolution and everything that we are planning to do is happening in 2020. This is the year of decision that Honorable Kyagulanyi should be realized as the sole candidate to compete with Mr. Museveni.
All right, sounds good. You've opened up my discussion so well. I really wanted to start with the Honorable Kyagulanyi's candidature as personal, probably as the only single candidate representing the opposition. But I'm going to go there. Let me start with what Richard came up with. Recently, when the year was ending, we saw President Museveni meeting John Patrick Mbabazi, the former premier of Uganda. Did that tell you guys, especially Sarah, you're a very strong People Power supporter, when you see one who was considered one of the architects of the government of President Museveni coming back to unite with him, what does that tell you?
Basically nothing. I'm one person who has never taken Mbabazi seriously. Even in the previous election, it is very clear Mbabazi was set up by President Museveni to divide the opposition vote. And I feel bad for all the opposition leaders that went running. First of all, I think some people ran to Mbabazi because they thought maybe he had money. So some people ran over there because they thought they were going to get money. But Mbabazi was a setup for Museveni to divide the opposition vote. And even Mbabazi reuniting with Museveni, because how much did he get the other time? How many votes did he get the other time? So Mbabazi does not even bother me. Mbabazi, Museveni can reunite with Mbabazi. He can get Moses Ali. He can get all the opposition. He can get all the movement lot to move with him. Ugandans are ready for change. So Mbabazi doesn't really bother me. Him coming up, because even his silence, so much has been happening. Mbabazi, you know, since 2016, Mbabazi, after the court proceedings where he sold, is it the electoral commissioner or the president, and then, you know, he lost, Mbabazi disappeared. We see him again in 2021. So Mbabazi is more or less irrelevant.
Right, so I want to bring in, Richard, you mentioned about it, and then we'll start our main topics. You mentioned about Mbabazi, and you were kind of surprised when you saw the two meeting up. What did it tell you now that we're in 2020?
The first thing we have to understand, is it true that Museveni is going to give up the chairmanship of the NRM? But why? Is Museveni's health in danger? Or is he going to survive for the whole year to contest for the next president? Because if you see who is going to replace him, and he's bringing now Ama Babas, who was supposed to replace him in 2016, that means what they're doing is just a change of guards. It's just calling him that now, why to Chigenda? Can you save our revolution? Now I can hand it over to you that after I depart, you can take care of the family and our revolution so that it doesn't die like that.
But he's one of the few smartest politicians.
Yeah, but we shall not accept him. We shall not accept him. We as Ugandans, we want honorable.
But he has no relevance.
A fair election. That's all we want.
Even if he's handed over power, even if Museveni right now, as we speak, even if Museveni says Mbabazi is standing in my place, Mbabazi is going to run for presidency, Mbabazi cannot beat Bobi Wine. That's for sure.
Look at what happened in Congo.
It doesn't matter how smart he is.
Imran, yeah.
One thing I can say is Museveni is believed to be one of the greatest politicians on the African continent. And in politics, there is no permanent enemy. It's a game of interest. For as long as your interests are my interests, then we are friends. There is no permanent enemy. There is no permanent friend. So, Mbabazi and Museveni, apparently Museveni is looking for as many allies as he can. So even if Bobi Wine is ready to go and sit with Museveni, Museveni is very ready. If Besigye is ready to sit with him, he's very ready. So that's a political move. Museveni is following their philosophy of we don't have permanent enemies or friends in politics. If our interests are the same, we shall sit on the same table. That's why I agree with my senior colleague here. that perhaps Mbabas is facing reality. I cannot become president without the endorsement of Museveni. Maybe as Museveni is leaving, Museveni can give me the seat.
All right, so Badru, you have something to add on that?
Actually, Mbabas is coming back to Mr. Museveni. It's been rumored for a long time that Mbabas is going to come back as the premier, as the head of the government businesses. But if you look at the people, Dave, if you look at the people who have defected from NRM and gone back, Sejusa put up a big stunt and he ran to the UK, he fled to the UK. Just after 3 to 6 months, Sejusa was spotted in the State House, speaking, dining with Museveni, having dinner together. And Museveni told him that I sent girls to look for you, but they wouldn't find you. So some of them, these are like political gimmicks. These are things that are there just to confuse Ugandans. So anytime very soon you can see another person who is coming up to be the biggest challenger right now, but in actual senses planted by Mr. Museveni. Mr. Museveni will create his own opposition, because according to what we are seeing right now, I have no doubt that Amama Mbabas was working for Mr. Museveni in 2016 to divide the election, to divide the vote. Because these are all the comrades, these are his comrades whom he was with in the struggle. Amama Mbabas has been with Mr. Museveni for over 40 years. So he cannot just wake up one morning and leave. So these are just political gimmicks. These are people that Museveni planted, and you will realize very many of them. Like Geno Biraro came for just 2-3 months, he disappeared up to now. The Mabilizis, people who didn't even have political integrity to stand in to be president. But this is just political gimmicks that Museveni is bringing up, and I don't believe in anyone, even in Mbabazi. Mbabazi works for Museveni. Whatever he speaks, no one believed him. All
right, buddy, thanks. You know, I want to now. Let me take you straight away to this year, 2020. It's well known all over Uganda, and of course, most of Ugandans know that this is going to be the greatest political year in the history of the country, where we are seeing Honorable Chagwani standing as a candidate. We know President Museveni is also going to stand as a candidate as per now, but we're still doubting whether Dr. Besigye is going to stand as a presidential candidate, plus other candidates. Now, the big question is, you guys, especially in the people power, I'm glad that at least 3 or 4 of you come from the people power fraternity. The question is, you want only Honorable Robert Chagwani to be fronted as the opposition leader. You don't want anybody else to contest with him, probably going to maybe a national opposition election to get at least one candidate. What you only see is Honorable Chagwani. Is that fair? Is that a democracy that you want to promote in the country?
I think what we do not want to waste is we do not have much time to start going back and forth on who is going to represent us. What has been happening before, you've seen a number of candidates coming up on the opposition side and divide the opposition vote, of which is not doing us any good. Right now, to beat President Museveni, who has the machinery of the police and the army and vote rigging, you need a block vote of more than 80% for you to be able to beat President Museveni. So for us to even to start at this point in time, if we were going to discuss about who and where, who is going to represent from the opposition, we would have done that maybe last year or 2 years ago. Right now, we do not have time to start bickering and wondering who is going to stand. We know right now, as we speak, we know the candidate who is most popular among Ugandans, and I would ask for a favor from the rest of the candidates. For example, Dr. Besigye has been running for the last 20 years. It's time to retire, unless he wants to be the opposition dictator. The rest of the people who, like I've seen already, who have picked up forms. There's a lady who is barely known, and there's a gentleman. These are people coming up. Even if they get one vote, that's an opposition vote you're taking away. That would have meant a lot to the candidate that is going to run. I think we are kind of aggressive right now. When you say, people in people power don't want to see any other opposition candidate, we do not, this is not a time to waste time. We do not want anyone to waste our time, because Museveni we are going after, we should all accept Museveni has the machinery to rig and win an election. And for us at least to be able to give Museveni a run for his money, Museveni has the money, he has everything, we need a block vote. At least let's go into a rerun. Let's get 50% and go into a rerun. Let's do something that is going to cause even the international community to feel like, yes, the opposition is really doing something. When you start having people coming in from opposition side and they want, and at this point in time, 2020, when you see the election is in February, as you said, February, March, and they want to start, oh, we need another candidate. I had the statements from Nambozi, from Nambozi. These statements, Dr. Besigye, we love Dr. Besigye. I've supported Dr. Besigye. I think the first time I voted before was the previous election, 2016, and I voted for Dr. Besigye. But it's been 20 years. It's been 20 years. Let him give us a break. And this, you see, as much as sometimes I say, as much as we want to see President Museveni go, we don't want to breed the opposition dictators. Because after 20 years, maybe after 10 years, if we still have Bobi Wine still clinging on to, power and is not ready to go, we'll come up and say, hey, Bobi Wine, you tried 20 years. Please step aside for another Bobi Wine. Because another person will come up. Because I want to finish up by saying, I think 4 years ago, no one knew that there would be another person who would resurrect and resonate with the people and have this kind of popularity Bobi Wine has today. And maybe all our eyes 4 years ago, after 2026, after even 2016, everyone was looking at Dr. Besigye. But right now we have Bobi Wine. I know even tomorrow there will be another person stronger than Bobi Wine with more popularity than him. Bobi Wine, if that time happens and is not yet president, he will step aside. We do not want to start breeding opposition dictators. We've seen Museveni, that's enough. We don't want even to happen on this other side, because it will be, what are we fighting for if even in opposition we have dictators?
All right, so I want to bring in Imran. Is that a kind of democracy that the opposition is trying to promote by saying only one candidate?
Absolutely. I do not subscribe to that school of thought. Yes, Bobi Wine is a very popular person, and but for opposition to go to the population telling them it's either Bobi Wine or nobody. I mean, Donald Trump is so popular in the Republican Party, but the Republican Party has not closed any candidate who is willing to run against Trump in the primaries. The Democratic Party did not close the doors for any candidate who was willing to run against Barack Obama in 2012 in the primaries. So I don't subscribe to that school of thought that it's either Bobi Wine or nobody. Nobody has monopoly over opposition.
Let me chip in.
So,
I'm going to bring you in. I want to
so nobody has monopoly over opposition. So, yes, I support Bobi Wine. I voted. I was there in Chadondo. I supported him, campaigned for him, and I'll vote for him in 2021. But I don't subscribe to the school of thought that, hey, FDC, you're either with Bobi Wine or you don't come. If I'm FDC and you're inviting me to a round table or to negotiate and you're not open-minded, so why should I come? All of us should come to the round table. All of us should come to the round table when our minds are open, that anything can happen. Present your candidate. My candidate is Bobi Wine. He's strong. These are his values. Right. These are the policy measures he's going to pursue. This is his financial capacity. Present FDC, present your candidate. Besigye.
My issue, we don't have time.
So we should come with an open mind.
Let me chip in. Sure. The People Power Revolution has opened up the eyes of Ugandans. Ugandans have spoken.
So the question is, are we going into an election or a revolution?
Look at the grounds. Look at the people.
Right.
Dr. Besigye has been there for 20 years. Honorable Betty Namboze coming up to make statements. There is one problem that I don't buy to the ideologies of Honorable Betty Namboze. Honorable Betty Namboze had conflicts in DP. And she knows only one trick. That in Uganda's politics, you cannot be relevant if you don't belong to any political party. So she's clinging herself to People's Government, or FDC, to be relevant. Because if Namboze tries to stand alone, she will be as useless in political atmosphere of Uganda. So she's clinging on Dr. Besigye and People's Government.
Namboze won without endorsement of FDC. They actually had the candidate against her in 2016.
She knows very well that if she stands alone and to submit ideas alone herself, she will stand irrelevant. Back to the point that you've said. Right now in Uganda, the biggest population right now in Uganda, 75% are the youths, are the majority. These are people who are educated. And we know very well, these are people who are learned. Most of them, out of the 75%, about 50% are bachelor's holders. They have degrees. But why do you think that Mr. Museveni, whenever he's making posts on Facebook, is mostly emphasizing with the Bazukulus? Why? Because he knows very well, these are the disgruntled youth, these are the young men who don't have jobs. These are the people that we are looking up to. So the youths who are 75% have spoken. that Honorable Kyagulanyi should hold the mantle right now. 20 years has been enough for Dr. Besigye. Even though you're testing waters for 20 years, the deep end is being too much for Dr. Besigye. Let him get out of the pool.
So I want to bring in Richard, and you guys, Imran will counter Aju, what he's saying.
Okay.
But let me ask you before you go on. You are a good friend of Dr. Besigye, and during his end of year address, he said he will not leave any struggle or any electoral position until the struggle is over. That simply means Dr. Besigye is coming back as a presidential candidate. So what's your opinion about that?
Let's be mature and analyze things that are taking us forward. First of all, Honorable Kyagulanyi is Moses. Is now Moses for the country. There has never been, I'm 54 years, there have never been a politician in Uganda that has united all the people, including the tribes and the region of Uganda, like Honorable Kyagulanyi. So he's our Moses. That's why I come here to defend him, so that we may be liberated. We don't have any other chance of wasting time who that is going to lead us in the next government. Now let's go to the second thing. People say that an election, my friend Besigye said, an election cannot unseat a president, a dictator like him. Look at West Africa. What happened this week? This is a West African country that a long dictator has been uprooted from power by an election. Let's go forward. Let's go to the international community. What is going to happen in Uganda to remove Museveni? Because Museveni is a revolutionary. It will need a revolution that will take over and be supported by the international community and the Ugandans. I'm going to give you my example. Look at what happened in Iran recently. That man they shot down. How was he shot down? If you look at the notices, he was assassinated. What happened? What they had to do, because he was a troublemaker, invisible, they had to go to the UN and have a resolution against him. He was not supposed to travel to Baghdad. It's there. You look at the notices. He was not supposed to be going to Baghdad because he was a troublemaker. What they did first was to go to the United Nations. So what we have to do, can we include the United Nations in our struggle? That's why we are mobilizing the diaspora. I'm going to finish. So yeah,
let me ask you the question again. Does that verify for only Honorable Kyagulanyi to be a presidential candidate?
No. We are first for the country to be in order for everyone to participate again. We have first to liberate the country and go back to democracy. If we focus now on democracy without defeating a revolutionarist, then we shall be defeated. All right, we needed a revolution to defeat a revolutionary in power.
And if we had Dr. Besigye, look at if you're going to follow him from 2016 up to now. Dr. Besigye, I remember some of his statements that have been strongly holding, have been, you know, Museveni is going to go before 2021. 2 months ago, he came up with a slogan, Mwebereremu. Now he's on with a new slogan. I'm forgetting the name.
Double action.
Double action. He has been confusing Ugandans for all this time. He's not being, and for Dr. Besigye to come up, I do not know what is fearing for him to declare his intentions, because if he's going to declare his intentions, he better say whatever he wants to say right now without wasting our time. But for us, the issue is not, I think our intention is not to block out other opposition leaders. But what we are saying, simple common sense. When you have so many opposition leaders, you're dividing the opposition vote. You're not touching the NRM vote. You're dividing the opposition vote. And we are looking for a block vote. We are looking for 80%, of which if you have 20 people on the opposition side, you're not doing anything. Even if you're related to the politics of America, you do not have 2 Republicans running for president. You have 1. And then the other side also has 1. So, you know, the winner takes it all.
They don't close the door.
Yeah, but do you have anyone who is going to stand for, even if they don't close the door, any other person who has the intentions of standing against Trump right now, if he's a Republican, he's going to lose it.
If you look at what is happening right now in Uganda, Museveni coming out and saying that by 2021 he doesn't want to see opposition in Uganda. He knew very well that Dr. Besigye has weakened.
Exactly.
Because you cannot provoke to that extent. And you make a statement like that.
That's why
Museveni boldly came out and said.
That's why Museveni does not know where Bobi Wine came from. And I'm telling you, the pressure on President Museveni right now is the coming of Bobi Wine, because he didn't know, he knew Besigye had weakened 20 years running and he had failed. So the popularity of Bobi Wine coming up and massively being supported by the youth who constitute 75% of the population, it has made Museveni run crazy. You've seen him, he's singing, he's appointing the likes of Full Figure. Who in this world would think a president of his nature, a revolutionist, a president, he said he's one of the best presidents, you know, respected in Africa.
Politician.
Why would a politician of his nature select a presidential advisor like Fulfig?
Because it's part of politics.
Imran, I want to bring you in.
Yes.
What's the reaction of what's going on?
You see, what we have in 21, we have a mountain to climb. So, as people who believe in change, who want to overthrow Museveni, we need each and everybody's support. 2021, we have 19.4 million registered voters. We have 141 districts. We have 80 municipalities. We have 200 sub-counties. We have 2,000 parishes. We have villages. There are 65,000 villages and 35,000 polling stations.
Right.
This is my point. When you're going to go against Museveni, the person who has all the resources he has, because he can simply use our national treasury, you need each and everybody's support. So, FDC is the strongest opposition party in Uganda. So, as people power, as supporters of Bobi Wine, we need FDC. And apparently, FDC, their man is Besigye. So, we need to sit on a round table with an open mind and convince them that, hey, we are not radicals. We are not saying if it's not Bobi Wine, then you guys, you're not making sense. Come, let's sit on a round table. This is the guy we are facing. We need your support. But if our tone is that radical, we are not attracting them to come around.
Let me make a simple...
It's not that. Let me ask you a question. Why did FDC fail to have polling agents on 15,000 polling stations? Why did they fail?
And that's why we need them.
No, but
why? The question is simple. Finances.
So the problem that you have...
So we need each and every support, financially, economically.
No, the problem that we have, we feel that without FDC structures, people power cannot stand. That's what you're trying to speak. Because you're saying Power 10, Dr. Besigye announced Power 10. He's now speaking about some other things.
No, but let me make a statement before you close up this. For you, from what I'm getting from you, it is as if you're insinuating that because if you're asking us to go and ask permission from FDC, it is as if sit on a round table. It is as if you're saying the problems. FDC are not seeing the problems of Uganda. The problems of Uganda right now are bigger than any political party.
Absolutely.
We are looking for someone, just one individual, who is going to take us to the finish line.
This. You guys in People Power have always advocated for one, human rights, and two, democracy. So how are you going to have democracy if you cannot accept other leaders to come and...
We want everyone to be part of us. We want, in fact, what we are asking for right now. The only thing we are asking for that is confusing everyone, we are only demanding for one opposition candidate, not to divide the opposition vote. It does not take away democracy in a country. It does not take away democracy in a country. But again, let me finish up. Yeah, sure. But the other thing for you to say at this point in time, we go to a round table and ask FDC and ask DP, this is beyond political parties. The problem of, we want to liberate ourselves. Uganda is at a place.
They have been given chances.
Yes, 20 years.
Dr. Besigye is now...
What are we consulting for me?
You see.
I respect Dr. Besigye. No, Dave, I respect Dr. Besigye so much, and he's one of the biggest political players, and we respect him. Everyone salutes him because of the efforts that he has put in the struggle. But there is only one thing. He shouldn't be a dictator in the struggle. He has been given chances for 20 years.
In 20 years.
Let me give an example.
Let me ask you before you give me an example. How different is it by you
dictating an opposition candidate
to represent the opposition?
No, but because
Dr. Besigye has been tested.
Because exactly.
Your child cannot repeat P7 5 times and you still keep them in.
And again, as Ugandans who are desperate for change, who have never seen any other president, we are saying we know one of the problems why we've not been winning an election against President Museveni. It is because we have so many opposition leaders and they end up dividing the opposition vote. So as Ugandans, we are speaking and saying, give us one opposition leader to run against President Museveni. It is simple. It doesn't need rocket science.
That should be the tone. Thank you very much. That should be the tone. Give us one opposition candidate.
Where the winds of
Let me take back my microphone.
There are two things
Richard,
here we are arguing about.
Right.
Right in this studio, we even said it last time. Numbers said there is a memorandum of understanding between FDC and people power. That is between Honorable Chagwany and the Besigye. What does Besigye lose if he's a good freedom fighter and want to take a part of the national cake? And he's the vice president of a country liberated.
Besigye,
what is the problem? That's what I don't understand. We are not playing games.
Besigye has not yet.
We are not playing games here.
Guys. So what does Honorable Chagwany
lose? Thank you very much.
He accepts
no.
Thank you very much.
What you don't understand right now, the issue right now, the issue right now, what you have, just like he said, Honorable Chagwany is Moses. Honorable Chagwany is Honorable Chagwany is a youth who understands the problems of 75% of the population. In fact, Ugandans have been able, if you see where he's coming from, when he was still contesting for MP, so many people did not understand him. But they've seen him grow. And again, when you look at this entire population, we're talking about 75%. He understands their problem and they understand him. They speak the same language. Literally, sometimes you see him sometimes going back and speak the language, you know, the street slang. People understand him. He understands the problems of the people. And if you have someone like that, unless you have a problem. I'll give an example. It is like in America right now, knowing very well that Trump is still popular with the people, and you bring another Republican. You're crazy. You're crazy. Right now you have Chagwany, and it has been shown. It is open there in the in the diaspora back home in Uganda. Wow. The young people. Even we have now the old. When I speak to my mom now understands Chagwany. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, she did not.
We may disagree on very many things. We may disagree on very many things. But one thing opposition does agree on: if we do not have a sole candidate as opposition in 2021, we are doomed. So let's open our minds. Yes, it can be Chagwany. I, for one, I want Chagwany to be the candidate of opposition. But I cannot convince a staunch FDC who does still believe in Besigye, and he is an MP from one of those districts deep down there that don't even have access to social media. I mean, Bobi Wine is as famous as anything else on social media.
Because you're not on ground. Because you're not on ground.
No, you're speaking all the time.
You're speaking from America.
This is not nuclear. This is not rocket science.
You see, David, I had an extraordinary opportunity when I was in Uganda. I was the speaker of Uganda National Students Association. I had a chance to travel to nearly 100 districts in Uganda. There are those districts. This is not too long ago. This was 2017, and then in 2018. There are those districts in Uganda, Adjumani, Nakapilipiliti. They don't have any access to a smartphone. So we need each and every voter down there. So we can, as opposition, we have to unite. We don't know who knows who down there because we need him. FDC has 36 members of parliament and more than any other opposition party in Uganda. So if people power, our tone is being this radical, we are discouraging them to join us.
Let me tell you,
but we need
I think
them.
what brings the radicalism, as you call it, it is Ugandans are tired. You must understand, at this place where we are right now, we cannot hold anything or anyone with simple hands and gloves. Because if Besigye insists and comes back in 2021, I am telling you, we are going to hold Besigye accountable for failing Ugandans to get the change they want. Besigye is going to face it really rough. Besigye is going to have a problem. Because it is going to be very clear. It is going to be very clear that Besigye is working with President Museveni to frustrate. Because we must accept all Ugandans. Majority of Ugandans are tired of President Museveni.
So let me give you 30 seconds. I'll give him 30 seconds. And
my brothers, thank you so much about the point you submitted that most of the people in the villages don't have access to internet. Bobi Wine, wherever he has gone, even before aspiring as the Chadondo MOP, Bobi Wine had his grassroots as Bobi Wine. Kyagulanyi has his grassroots as Bobi Wine.
Because he has performed in some of those areas.
He has performed to all those villages. I got a chance to be in Karamoja, a place called Abim. I met a young boy of 12 years. That was 2009. I was in Karamoja for 6 months. That boy asked me, in Kampala, do you see Chameleon and Bobi Wine physically?
Basically, that is a plus for us.
That was 2009.
That's a plus for us.
The boy was 12 years. He asked me, in Kampala, you mean you see Bobi Wine physically? I told him, yes. This is the boy who is in Abim. From Abim, we go to Kotido. So what I'm saying, Bobi Wine has used his establishment because he's a musician.
Yeah, exactly.
To reach out to
you see, moderator, through you allow me ask my colleagues a question.
We have members of parliament.
What we have to do right now.
Do you believe that we have members of parliament who are in parliament with 15,000 votes, and they are members of parliament in parliament with 60,000 votes?
David, I just want to ask my colleagues a question. Do we need Dr. Besigye in 2021?
We need, yes.
Yes or
this
no?
This is what
yes, we need him.
Dr. Besigye, we need him on the campaign trail. If Bobi Wine is campaigning in Gulu, we want Dr. Besigye in Arua campaigning for Bobi Wine for change. We do not want Besigye as a presidential candidate. Just like what has been happening in opposition right now. You've had Besigye, the People Power fraternity, going out and campaigning for FDC candidates, so, and you've seen Besigye coming up. What happened in Ginger?
I want to thank
the person who came up in Ginger, Mwiru was FDC. But you saw Bobi Wine going to on the campaign trail with Besigye. Can't we just do that?
Dave, in conclusion, let me give you information. Let me give Dave just 1 second. When Dr. Semogere came in '96, he failed. When they came back, Dr. Semogere was told, please leave for Nasantege Sebagala, because he was the man holding the mantle by that time. When Nasantege Sebagala failed to come because of his qualifications, he said no. They told him front Dr. Besigye. Dr. Besigye himself was fronted by Nasantege Sebagala.
No one
Why doesn't he sit back and front Dr. Kyagulanyi?
They actually sat on a round table and you was endorsed.
I want to thank you for your submissions, but let me look into next Monday starting January 6th. The People Power organizational movement is starting their consultations. Now, I want you guys to draw a broader picture into these consultations. Are these consultations to find out who's going to be the right candidate for People Power, or they're just confirming that Honorable Bobi Wine is going to become the president? So he's kind of like informing Ugandans that I'm coming as a president. Or it's going to be an open war of discussing that maybe Imran could be another presidential candidate representing People Power. Could be Sarah, could be Badu, could be Richard. So I want to start with Richard. I want to start with you. When you see what's going on in the country, People Power is going to do consultations. Are they hopeful to People Power as a fraternity, or just Bobi Wine as a candidate?
No, it's early campaigning, consultation and early campaigning, and early sabotage of People Power. Let me give you an example. I saw today, because I have to confirm it through the media, then put it on record, that one of the hotels in Chitigum that Honorable Kyagulanyi had asked has been turned down because the owner was told not to host him there. Do you think it's fair you tell a presidential candidate for the country who is going to consult people and you give him venues only that he must consult in a hotel? Is that fair democracy? Is that fair democracy? No or yes? That's no. They are trying to do everything, but I want to tell them openly what is going to happen. One more mistake that they are going to mess up with this country or Honorable Kyagulanyi, they go down in defeat. Yeah, because people are not going to wait for their newses anymore.
Getting back on my question, are these consultations benefiting just Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi or the People Power movement? Are they open for anybody to become a candidate?
No.
First of all, from what I understood, he has a policy document that he's supposed to come up. If you read this post today, he has a policy document that he's supposed to come up. But he felt it was unfair, because if you saw his post today, he put up a post and said, can you just put out your views on what you want in a new Uganda and all that. I think part of the reasons why he's consulting the whole country is they don't want to come up with a policy document alone, minus engaging the populace to know what do Ugandans really need. what do Ugandans, what are the problems Ugandans are facing? What do they want to see in new Uganda? Because even if we are going to, it must be a proper document that is going to involve all Ugandans. It should not come from Kyagulanyi and a few a few members of his team that have come up with something to represent Ugandans. Him going out there, you may call it early campaigning, it may be showing up his face to the people, but just like he said, the advantage we have with Bobi Wine is Bobi Wine for the last 20 years. Bobi Wine started singing in 2000. For the last 20 plus years, his face has been to every corner of Uganda. All we have to do right now is to let Ugandans understand that the Bobi Wine, as a musician, on the ballot paper is going to appear as Robert Kyagulanyi. So we are only making Ugandans understand that in fact, Electoral Commission should allow him to bracket off Bobi Wine on his name or in the, on a ballot paper so that people may know, oh, this is Bobi Wine, this is Kyagulanyi. But his face is known. Kids, young, wherever you go, they can sing to his music. They can sing to his music. That's the advantage we have, and we do not want, and that's what we were saying, we do not want anyone to rain on our parade right now. When we have someone who has built his name as a populist, who has resonated with Ugandans for so long, over 20 years as a musician, he has been to every part of Uganda, performed as a musician. So, as going back to the consultations, it is whatever, I know definitely after the consultation is going to cement, they are going to go back, whatever they want to come up with the policy document, they want to involve all the views of Ugandans. But my prayer right now is, let me hope he's not going to be stopped from consulting, because what we have in Uganda right now, Electoral Commission can endorse you, police can say something else, and then Museveni gives orders.
All right. So I want to bring in Imran, and then I'll come to you, buddy.
Yeah, maybe to give our viewers some preamble of what we have in 2020. The Constitution of Uganda under Article 59 gives each and every Ugandan a right to vote who is above the age of 18. And then Article 60 of the Constitution of Uganda establishes the Electoral Commission, which is appointed by the President and then with approval of Parliament. So Bobi Wine is a pending presidential candidate. He notified the Electoral Commission that he has intentions to run in 2020, 2021 elections. So Electoral Commission gave him a go ahead. But as my colleague has said, Sarah, yes, Electoral Commission might give you a go ahead, but still we are not so sure. Because, our Constitution is really very funny. That very Constitution that gives the EC powers to give candidates go-aheads to go ahead with their political consultations, it creates the Uganda police, which is okay. But it gives, I think it's Article 211, functions of the Uganda police, right. Whereby the functions of the Uganda police, some of them is to detect crime. So, Uganda police can abruptly come up and arrest you. It seems, David, you're going to commit a crime, so we are going to arrest you.
Preventive arrest.
Right. So because it has powers under the Constitution, and then of course we cannot forget the Public Order Management Act of 2011. So as Bobi Wine is going out to the population, he has those two challenges: the Public Order Management Act, and the article that fake article, because when you look into a good constitution, principles of a good constitution, you cannot have such a vague clause like that.
And you should add on also powers from above, surpasses even what the constitution says. And
so that's the challenge. Those are the challenges that you guys are going to be facing.
So the challenges Bobi Wine is going to face with his consultation, is Uganda police okay with it? Can it act with can it hide under the Public Management Act to prevent him? So, to answer your question, is he going to consult as a person who's going to run for president, or somebody else can come in people power? Openly, no, Bobi Wine is running for president. So, we do not expect any other opposition, any other people power candidate. I can ask my colleagues a question. God forbid, what if Bobi Wine is no more? What is our strategy as people power? And that's where I strongly say, no, we cannot simply tell FDC, Besigye, if you're not endorsing Bobi Wine, no, because anything is possible. I'm saying, God forbid, if Bobi Wine is not available.
Can I say something?
So we have to be open-minded.
No, I just want to answer to that. Just to say, what if Bobi Wine is no more? In 2016, no one is not available. No one knew there would be a Bobi Wine. Bobi Wine had even no intentions of going into politics until when the election, the place went vacancy. What I'm going to say, what I'm trying to say is, if Bobi Wine is no more, another person stronger than even Bobi Wine.
That's not my point. That's not my question. Is if he's unavailable. Bobi Wine is a human being. Anything can happen.
That's what I'm saying. Someone even stronger than Bobi Wine.
So we have to be open-minded.
Even you can
happen to any human being.
Even you can go and spearhead the revolution.
Absolutely. But people power. If our tone is Bobi Wine or nobody else, then we are chasing away our opposition forces.
No, my brother. That's why Robert Chagulanyi says the revolution is for you, not for him as an individual.
Yes,
that
he says
that's why he says
it's not about him. It's not about him, and your tone is it's about him.
No.
It's everybody.
I think you're getting us wrong.
You're
what
saying if it's not Bobi Wine, nobody else.
No, what we're saying right now, when it comes to the presidential candidature, instead of having other opposition leaders, and I want people who are viewing us to understand, instead of having other opposition leaders who are going to divide the opposition vote, we are saying we want only Chagulanyi on that ballot paper. And why? We've tested moments of where we've had so many opposition leaders, and and when you look at all the votes coming together, if they were together, we would have a rerun.
Which is absolutely okay, but we need the other forces as well. We cannot simply push them away with that radical tone.
We want them to campaign for Chagulanyi. Let them campaign.
I'm going to take you back to my side, and I thank you guys for all your submissions, and of course our viewers, we thank you for always watching Uganda at Crossroads. We always come here and discuss a number of key issues, and we try to find out the possibility of whether the country can actually change, like what many people power positions are saying. Opposition affiliate members are saying that Uganda maybe needs probably Honorable Chagulanyi to be the president. We have seen also other political organizations. DP may also front someone, FDC. Dr. Besigye, during his end of year address, he clearly stated that he will stand as a political, he will not leave any electoral position unless the struggle is over. So you and I know that the struggle is not yet over. It's still running up to 2021 in the coming general elections. So the question is, will these opposition leaders, just as they say, we are working, we are having memorandums of understandings and others, will it be possible for actually these opposition leaders to stand? Just to remind you, FDC has not changed their constitution as we speak, meaning they have to present someone. That is what the Constitution asks for. Now, guys,
if I'm going to ask you something, if I'm going to ask something, right now, Dr. Besigye is leading the People's Government. Is he still in FDC, or FDC, or People's Government is one of the factions of FDC?
Yes.
I was going there. So, towards the end of the year, there were addresses that were given by one, Honorable Robert Chagulanyi. I started the show with that. President Museveni gave his address, and Dr. Besigye gave his address. Dr. Besigye says, this year we are going to work so hard on uniting the forces of opposition. Honorable Chagulanyi says, this year we are working so hard on bringing together all these opposition leaders, or different fraternities in Uganda. President Museveni is also enjoying his staying power and saying we are going to work hard towards improving the infrastructure, the education system has improved. And the fact is, yes, the literacy level in Uganda has improved during the tenure of President Museveni.
What has improved?
After
the literacy level has increased by 76%. That's a fact.
After 35 years.
After 35 years. So the question is, when they talk about the unity, and you people down on the ground, or people who are just supporting these individuals, are still disunited, how possible is that unity?
Thank you very much. I mean, the question to, if I was NRM, I could ask my colleagues in opposition. You people cannot even sort out things in your house and you want to take the mantle of the country.
No,
so as opposition, we really need to lower our tones, talk to each other, come up with, of course, one opposition candidate, and we can defeat Museveni. But our tone on social media, attacking Dr. Besigye and then FDC attacking Bobi Wine, that Museveni is benefiting. Actually, if I'm Museveni, I'm like, yes, push on. Besigye, Bobi Wine supporters, attack yourselves, because I benefit. But
if I may ask, if I may say something, what options do the people in NRM have? You've seen, you saw what happened with the guy who wanted to contest for NRM chairmanship. What happened to him? What options do they have? They are stuck. Don't you think there are people who have potential? See what happened with the...
That's exactly the same question.
You see what happened with Mbabazi. Mbabazi had been promised that in 2016, he was going to be the presidential candidate. And then Museveni, in his cunning way, threw Mbabazi aside. So what options do they have? They don't also have an option. There are so many people in NRM who would want to see change as well, but what option do they have? They do not have an option. What we have on the other side, when you go to the opposition side, we have so many people who have potential to stand. But I think what I see with the opposition right now is a little bit of greed. Everyone feels like if I'm not the one leading, I cannot be behind someone. And what we are looking at, we can, Dr. Besigye, as much as Bobi Wine could be half the age of Dr. Besigye, there is nothing wrong with Dr. Besigye being behind Bobi Wine.
Just as it is, there is nothing wrong with Bobi being behind Dr. Besigye.
Yes, exactly, exactly. But what we are saying, Dr. Besigye has tested the waters for 20 years. We have every reason to stand up and say no to Dr. Besigye. He has tested the water for 20 years and he has failed us. For us as Ugandans,
there is a statement that Dr. Besigye said last time that he is also fighting for himself. We believe in Dr. Besigye, but as I told you,
he's fighting for himself as a Ugandan.
Your child cannot repeat primary 7 or form 4 for 5 times, and you still keep them there.
You take them to technical school.
You take them. You find other options. You take them to vocational schools.
If you have time, I can. But what I want
shortly, Mr. Museveni is operating on divide and rule.
Definitely.
For all this time long, Mr. Museveni has used the tool of money. Because Mr. Museveni is the lock of money in Uganda.
By the way, Badru, Abraham Lincoln lost presidents 5 times. And the sixth time he became president.
Because there was no option.
And he's now the greatest president of the United States.
No option. But we have the option.
David, simply, in Uganda, we are not going to, in 2021, we are not choosing a president. We are choosing a liberator. And the place where we are right now, we are looking for a liberator.
It's the people who have spoken right now. It's the people. It's not
and I'm telling you, Bobi Wine could only serve one time. We are looking for a liberator. This is not just a matter of changing God.
Just a few seconds. You cannot operate normal in abnormal situations. Right now, the POMA is there. These are all strategies used by dictators to curtail people. They will change the constitution. What happened? Kwame Nkrumah, he liberated Ghana. But the moment he tried to tamper with the revolution, he tampered with the revolution, with the constitution. Kwame Nkrumah was the father of Ghana, but he's not president in Ghana. He's president outside Ghana because he tried to change the constitution as it was made. Right. So all the dictators, and he was thrown out, all the dictators will bring all possible ways. They will put the public order management bills, they'll put everything just to incarcerate, to put you down. So Bobi Wine has to operate in abnormal situations. He has also to operate abnormal. That's why he says he will do it the Robert Dobb style. Don't expect Robert Chagulanyi, even though it's curtailed different times. Right, so Robert Chagulanyi will continue, just in a few seconds. Robert Chagulanyi will continue consulting in all ways possible
even though it's being curtailed by the police.
Let me bring in Richard.
Okay, do we need Dr. Besigye?
Yes.
Yes. Let me give you an example.
Thank you.
The opposition in Uganda is not only about winning the president, because the president is going to be won by Honorable Chagwany. We need the FDC, the DPs, the UPC to make sure that we get 90% of all the MPs. Remember, they are going to do gerrymandering in the country.
Yes.
You see, why does it also Besigye agree and we focus on the areas so that all the areas where there is an MP, for example, in the western area where there is an MP or for NRM and FDC takes it, that's also winning strategy. Yes. And let's go forward from here. The economic strategy for the country. Who has a better economic strategy for the country? We people power have the best economic policy to liberate
ourselves. You haven't presented your
people power apparently people power has no policy measures they are pursuing.
Let me say Mr. Richard, let me take my microphone back.
Let me take my microphone back. Let me ask you a question. People power has not presented their policy, so you don't have anything.
No, it's coming out.
Mr. Richard, let me help.
Honorable Chagwany could not give out a policy without a consultation of the majority,
Mr. Richard, let me help.
What is happening?
Mr. Richard, let me help you.
It's going to come
right now in Uganda.
It's going to liberate the country from poverty, from oil, from backward. 100%.
Mr. Richard, let me help.
We cannot continue with the same policy.
Let me chip in for a minute. Let me chip in for a minute. Right now in Uganda, the circulation, the money in the economy that is in circulation is 20 billion. The economy is already failed. So the manifesto is all the failures of NRM. Exactly. And it's exactly, everyone knows all the failures.
We all agree in opposition. So, we agree.
So it's like asking, what is Bobi Wine going to do? But Museveni has failed everything. Museveni
when you know what has failed.
Yeah, Museveni has failed. Museveni has failed tourism. Museveni has failed
agriculture,
the health. Museveni has failed agriculture.
Service delivery.
All service delivery. Public service. Museveni has failed everything. Everything. All the banks have closed. Cooperative banks have closed in Uganda. All the agricultural banks have closed in Uganda.
Bankless banks.
Those are foreign banks.
Bankless bank left Uganda.
Exactly.
Let me just
when you speak about policies, speak about all the failures, and 100% NRM has failed.
And let me just throw in one simple thing for our viewers and people who may totally not understand, who may say, oh, where are the policies? For example, let me just pick a leaf from corruption. The simplest way, because you're going to say, oh, what is Honorable Chagwany going to do with corruption? You had, after 35 years or 33 years, President Museveni, the best he has done for us in 33 years is to work against corruption. The simplest way is, even simple rocket science. The people who are corrupt, we know them. People who have stolen, we know them, they are there. Get them, put them in jail. Look up all their properties. They have all these properties in Uganda. Sell up all their properties. Take them back. Collect all the monies. It is simple common sense. Even a child, it doesn't need a master's, it doesn't need a PhD, it needs common sense. You mean you can, these guys have wealth amassed in Uganda. If you can follow it up, you can close all the accounts that belong abroad.
Sarah, supplementary to that, the problem is nepotism. Museveni put his brothers and his aunties in these key positions. So whenever you touch on your brother, you put your cousin inside the prison, they will call you in the family. Please, that's your son. His father helped you. Please, that's the problem, nepotism. You cannot operate when it's your brothers around these to implement the policies.
I believe
Museveni's problem is that he brought all his family and he put them in all key structures of government. So he cannot account for their stealing.
I believe in opposition we all agree.
Then we'll go off that topic, and
I think I believe in opposition we all agree. The current status quo, economically, health, education, it's a total mess. We all agree on that. DP, FDC, people power, GEMA, we all agree on that. As opposition, we simply need to sit on a round table. We have nearly 426 constituencies in parliament. Apparently, NRM occupies over 216 of those constituencies. We see how can we take over parliament, because again and again, I revised our constitution when it comes to impeachment of a president after the Americans impeached theirs. I'm like, okay, what if this question comes in Uganda? Because with the current constitution of Uganda, impeachment of a president is very easy for as long as you have the majority. Yes, tomorrow Bobi Wine is in office and NRM are still the majority in parliament, they can kick him out. And let me, you know, from where opposition, we just need to unite.
You know, from where you're coming from, where you said we need all opposition, and that's why I'm going to put this assertion and say, I think it's about time, this time, because we need one presidential candidate. We can have the likes of Besigye, the likes of all these other opposition leaders focus on winning the member of parliament seats, so that we have majority. Because you cannot, as the rest are campaigning, for example, if Bobi Wine is on the trail for presidency, we can have Dr. Besigye and the rest on trail for members of parliament. Exactly. We want to overturn the numbers in parliament.
You know the gerrymandering that has happened in Uganda right now? I've told you earlier that there are members of parliaments who are in the house, and they entered there because they want 10,000. Their constituency constitutes about 15,000 people. And they are going to be submitting their views with people who went to parliament with 70,000 votes, 60,000 votes. There are MPs. There is this guy from that side of Bunyore. He went in parliament with 15,000 votes.
I think,
the problem we have right now.
Let me end up with this, with the show. Where is the future of Uganda in 2020?
The future of Uganda lies in Ugandans. Just like the statement is Ugandans have every power in their hands to cause the change they want. It is not in the hands of Bobi Wine. It is not in the hands of Museveni. It is not even in the hands of Dr. Besigye. It is what has happened right now. Before, the future used to be in the hands of President Museveni, where Ugandans didn't know what was going on. Majority of Ugandans have been awakened, even the old. When I speak to my mother, she knows what is going on. Because the biting poverty is biting all Ugandans, no matter your age gap. The biting, when they go to a hospital, all of them cannot find services. When your child is sick, it is all of you suffer from lack of medication from these hospitals. So it is going entirely to depend on Ugandans. Ugandans, you're going to come out in huge numbers and vote. And you do not leave the safeguarding of the vote to any other individual. It is, you're going to be part of it. This is not about Bobi Wine becoming president. It is about Ugandans liberating themselves so that you are able to be, because what is happening right now, you don't have leaders that are accountable because they've been in power for so long that they've lost morality. You need to have a new set of leaders. When they still come in, at least fresh and young, they have some bit of morality and you can hold them accountable, and even you can kick them out. What you have right now, it is completely destroyed, so it is going to take every Ugandan. Don't think this is about Bobi Wine. Bobi Wine, I still tell people, Bobi Wine was living a comfortable life. Bobi Wine is not among the Ugandans who lacked before he joined politics, no. But there are Ugandans who can go without a meal a day, whose kids are not failed to get school fees, who have no land even to plant a stem of matoke. Bobi Wine has that land. So we should not look at Bobi Wine as an individual and say, oh, this is all about Bobi Wine, this is all about Besigye. That's why I said this is beyond Bobi Wine or any political parties. This is beyond Besigye. This is about Ugandans liberating themselves and getting the change they entirely deserve. And we get leaders who are servants of the people, not leaders who are who are serving themselves, who take care of them and their own family, who look at Uganda as a small company, leaders who are milking a cow they've not fed. We want to, to change the status quo and have leaders who are going to be accountable.
All right, so Richard.
So this is my submission. This is in our history of the country and the world. We have never had a golden chance like this. I don't know if people are watching very well what has happened to this Iranian man. It was the UN resolution or a UN order that they had to use to eliminate this man. These people in NRM have been there. They say they are invisible. They will never be got out of power. Even by election, they will affiliate. So they're going to get out the army. But once a United Nations order is given to a leader like Museveni or his army or the Special Force Command, right from Mombasa, a UN or US missile can take out anyone that they want to. Our aim now, our way forward now to liberate the country is the diaspora. I always say that let's mobilize the diaspora. Let's be ready. Let's mobilize the diaspora. Let's not sleep. This is the golden time that the world will come to us in time of need to rescue the country. They will not come to us when we are just seeing what is happening in Uganda. It will come from us, the diaspora. When the country is in lockdown, we come together like we are here. We come in town hall meeting. We get resolution. We tell them, you people, come to our rescue. Otafila is killing people. This one is, so major so is killing people. So when they come to our rescue, they'll take out this man. He will go. In history, he will be defeated. But if we fear for paying a price, we shall never take our liberty back unless we risk losing our lives.
Dave, what I think is that Ugandans have to stand out in 2020 and speak what's going to happen in 2021. The reason as to why we shouldn't best, I will interject, I'll object. The reason as to why I don't want Ugandans to count on the international powers as so far right now. We have the African Union in Africa. African Union is a barking dog. They cannot do anything right now. So, Ugandans, this is the revolution of the people.
Actually,
we need to account for Ugandans first.
In international law, there is sovereignty of every state. So United Nations cannot intervene in our politics unless when there is a human, human rights abuse.
Sovereignty, yeah, exactly. Sovereignty still stands. So my appeal is to Ugandans. This is your time. Ugandans should wake up. Ugandans should sit at the front of this, because these people feel that they are the pioneers of Uganda. These people
own it.
They came to stay. These people feel they own Uganda right now. That's why Museveni is bringing everything possible to intimidate a common Ugandan, like how he's marching from Sijui where to Kabamba to where. Museveni is marching because he has deployed the army in all those villages where he's going to be passing to put fear in Ugandans, to instill fear in Ugandans. So this is a cause for a common Ugandan. This is a cause for the person on ground. We shouldn't, as we wait for the UN, as we wait for the African Union, Ugandans should be involved in 2020 and 2021 to make sure that we transform the country, to make sure that everything works for the people. We remove the dictator and his group, because the dictator's group is about 15 people who are in command, who are sharing the national cake, and they give these small drops out to the few individuals around. So common Ugandans have to stand out by themselves as we wait for the African Union and the United Nations.
Yeah, Imran, your take on...
Yeah, we are concluding?
No, we're almost there.
My take, I mean, they all have, their submissions, it's like they are concluding, but my take is unification among opposition is not an option. It's the only way we can be victors in 2021. That's not option. And then to my direct message to my generation, each and every generation has an obligation to make sure that the next generation is actually doing good. The way our fathers and grandparents had an obligation to ensure us enjoying some privileges, though they did not. I mean, we could have, I'm just 23 years of age, I could not have found Museveni in office.
Exactly.
And our history of Amini and those Obotes I hear about. So our generation, it's our time. Let's take the mantle. We ensure that our kids, our grandsons and daughters live a life way better than ours. Opposition, we need to unite. Museveni is a human being, he's not immortal. This world has seen the Napoleons, the Adolf Hitlers, their time came and went. The only permanent thing in life is change. So Museveni's time is coming. I mean, I might be even speaking right now and the man is already dead.
So
now,
let me just go a little bit. I'm going to come back with you guys before we shut down the show. During the week, actually today, 12 hours back, we put a question out there. Many of our viewers, you know that President of Uganda had a trek today, remembering the forces or the people he fought with to liberate the country. And we put a question: what do you make of Museveni's 100-kilometer trek in remembrance of the war heroes? Now, there's some answers that came in that we promised you had to read at least. Now, one of the people who responded, Ricardo May, said apart from him trekking through poverty, stricken areas and areas where trees have been cut massively because of his fear that those against his government would hide there, what's new he is going to tell those living there? Now, that's a question. This is just a show off to the poor war veterans in those areas. Now, I'm going to read one or two more comments, and then I'll bring back the matter to you guys, what you make of what the president did. Now, one, Ronald Luchamla says, 30 years of those people in that area were forgotten. No good roads, no good hospitals, no good schools. Poverty is the order of the day until when the true opposition came into existence. Now they have remembered them. All right, so we one more comment that comes from Karen Elizabeth. She says, he just wants to rejuvenate his decaying body. Aunt Kampala, okay. Aunt Kampala kuya bova lova vana valeta whatever. Let me read one more. Politics aside, Johnny Mutaba says it seems to be working for him. Now, I want to come to you guys. You've had different comments. Of course, already some of them have, skipped some words. But each one of you is going to give me your opinion about the new strategy that President Museveni is using in the country. Before we have just 7 minutes to go.
That's not a strategy.
His new strategy that he's using. One, he started with the walk against corruption. Now he's remembering the would-be people against his government, the veterans.
You see what is annoying me? What is annoying me? For the 34 plus years Museveni has been in power, I think his ability to use common sense is diminishing at a fast rate. And I do not know who is organizing these functions. Because whoever is organizing, the last one, the old corruption, was organized by Balaam. He's a businessman. He made his money. Because Museveni, at this rate, if he had real advisors who love him at least, who really want to say better Uganda, or even who want to give him a chance when it comes, because Museveni is leading the largest population of Ugandans understand. At least they have a clear view of the politics of Uganda. Museveni should not be working against corruption. Museveni should not be working in areas where families lost their loved ones. Right. Families were left with no one. Museveni has had a chance for the last 34 years to compensate those war heroes. He has had a chance because some of these people, he ate their food, he used their animals, he killed their own people. In fact, Museveni killed, you see, what people need to understand, when there is a war, what was happening in 1985, 1986, 1981, Museveni was coming onto power. So who is more likely to kill more?
Who is the rebel?
Who is the rebel? Museveni was the rebel leader. Exactly. The rebel will kill more because he wants the seat. Exactly. So Museveni killed these people. In terms of if you are going to use simple common sense, Museveni killed majority of Ugandans in Wero. And for the last, and you've seen every January 26th, the liberation, wherever they have the liberation, whatever day, Museveni has failed. If he was going to compensate these people, by the time we are 34 years, every Ugandan in that part of the area who lost a loved one or whose food or whatever Museveni ate, he would have physically compensated them. They would be happy. Because for him to go and walk and exercise, exercise his old bones that are wearing out, does not help people. It does not put food on the table.
I want to bring in Richard.
I was in Birembo. That was the turning point of the war. One day I'll write my book about the history and our struggles. I'll tell you one day, but let me tell you. In 1999, I was able to hear Museveni's speech going through that journey from the forest Garamba to Birembo. It has been happening. 20 years ago it happened. But what he was saying, that economics and the road, they change the whole country. Has Museveni for the last 20 years, I had his speech. If I could remember everything he was saying, has he achieved everything that he was talking about? Or it's just a mockery of the country? Has the people of Uganda come out of poverty? He was speaking on the New Year's Eve that what we need is more investors in Uganda to come in. People power, what is going to do is going to turn about.
But investors come in with their workers. They come in with the tea girls. They come in with the tea girls, the laborers.
What did the trek mean to you, Richard? What did the trek mean to you?
The people who were there in 1999, how many people were there this time? How many people were there this time? Because I was looking at them since morning and say exactly who was there and who was not there. The revolution was a lie. It was a mere lie.
In 1999, Museveni made that trek too, and these people didn't benefit. In 2020, Museveni is making that trek again. Museveni is fearing the youths. Museveni is fearing what is expected in 2021 because the youths are gonna turn up in big numbers because they have a reason to vote. They are voting someone of their age and they are voting someone they are sure of because this is a perfect time when Ugandans are tired. Now, Museveni walking for almost 100
kilometers.
Yeah. Right. Recently, I heard Museveni is being put on exercise to chop some weight from 100 kilograms to now 70 kilograms. If not,
and he was bragging about it.
If not Robert Kyagulanyi's stress. So I think Mr. Museveni is exercising himself, but this is a mockery. Because all the people that Museveni is working with, they are broken people. They don't have even good shelter.
But and majority of them he's working with are not from Luero. He went with them from Kampala. They're living comfortable.
Right, so I'm gonna bring in Imran after.
These people are doing bad. These people are desperate. These people that Museveni is working with, the real people that are on ground, they are doing so bad. They don't even have basic needs for themselves. Right. So Museveni is working. The trek is doing right now is a mockery to Uganda, and whoever is giving him the strategies is failing him.
All right, Imran.
Yes.
What does that tell you? The president is doing his job by remembering all these war heroes who did a great job in liberating the country. The peace and the security that you guys today, who are now standing against the same man who fought for your freedom, are enjoying.
I may not justify Museveni's going to the bush in 1980 and 1981 up to 1986. But he went to the bush. The country had very ugly history with Obote 1, Obote 2. I mean, just exchanging power just like that. But when Museveni won the war, I'll say in 1986, I was not there. But I want to compare the job Museveni and his colleagues they were with in the bush after coming to the power. I want to compare the job and tasks they had to the job the likes of George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, those that founded America had. They also came in, Washington and his colleagues, they got to power, they fought the British, they are now in office. So they knew, okay, yes, of course we are going to share power amongst ourselves. Washington was the first president. He left. Adam came in. He left, and then Jefferson came in. They left. But much as those people shared power amongst themselves, they were able to come up with a document that can stand the test of the time, even up to date, nearly 200 years ago. That document,
which of course
the United States Constitution,
to the 1995.
I actually want to get there. The United States Constitution can still stand the test of the time 200 years ago. But Museveni and his colleagues get in office 1986, and they were only able to come up with a document for our country after 10 years in 1996. Right. That's when they come up with our Constitution. You've had 10 years to come up with a document that is going to impact the social, the economical, the health, well-being of the people. And you come up with such a document. Okay, it had its issues. But yes, Museveni, at this point, we are looking at you as the founding father. You ask for, you're like, okay, let me test drive this document. So he ran for president in 96 and then 2001. And if Museveni left office in 2005 and he did not run in 2006, right now he could be the founding father of Uganda, literally. We could forget about the Obotes and the Mutesas. So when I see him just mocking the fight and the war he had in the 1980s, because when you start moving around, walking around, you're just mocking that war. Museveni just had to leave office in 2005. He could be the founding father of our country. So it's just wasting our taxpayers' money, because whenever the president is going somewhere, the security detail is beefed up. People are paid to do this and that. So it's, I mean,
paid to go there.
All right. So
before you finish up, just give me. I want to just give me 1 second.
One second.
1 second. And this is my submission, and I'm picking it from what he said. Our parents.
1 second.
Yeah, 1 second.
We will go to Chaka Chaka's event, and then we'll be.
1 second.
All right.
Our parents failed us, and I'm picking it from what he said. In 2006, our parents still were talking about Otucheba Kotulo. At least you can get some sleep. Our parents, after the 10 years of President Museveni having no document, having no constitution, if they had allowed him maybe to take another 1 term, and now started demanding for change without, believing in all with Tucheba Kotulo, we wouldn't be where we are right now. But Ugandans then, those are our parents, failed us because they were there throughout that time of Museveni. They ran in the bush, weren't there. They failed us. Now it is up to us. This generation right now, if we don't do anything right now, we are going to fail our children. And we're not going to have any guts to sit and tell our children how things are bad. We are not going to explain to them anything, because our parents have what we do not have. We have social media, we are elite, we are more informed, we cannot be deceived. I remember when I was growing, when I was young, we were told, oh, Museveni used to turn into a cat. Those are things we were told when we were young. Yes, and now we came to believe those were all lies, but our parents believed them. Our parents believed so many things. And now this generation right now, if you do not do something, you have nothing to tell your children.
All right, so I want to go, but I want to finish up with this, and I want you guys to give me a final take. It's going to be like an open discussion towards the end of the year, actually the end of the year, the last day, with Ghana's New Year's Eve or New Year's Eve. There were foreign musicians or international icons who had come to Uganda to perform, and what we learned was one of them, of course, we had one from, one would say, in that part, Kandaman something?
Kandabongman.
And then from the one again would put it from the opposition, that was Chaka Chaka. What we remember was Chaka Chaka was deported. Now, 2 stories developed on the same day. Chaka Chaka said there was nothing like a deportation. That's a fact, based on what she said. There are certain things that she misunderstood with maybe the organizers of the event.
She misunderstood. It doesn't mean there was no deportation.
Let's put it this way. That's a fact. That's what she said. She's the person who was there. And the police comes up to say, we deported her because she never had the right visa to come and perform in the country. Now, the country was left in balance over who is right. Let me open up the discussion to you guys.
Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing. If you listen go back and listen to the statement of Chaka Chaka, she said she did not know what was happening, and she did not understand what was going on. So for her, just because she was in a state of confusion, of not understanding what was happening, she did not know it was a deportation. But I will say one thing. Museveni sometimes gets scared over things I would not even expect anyone to get scared of. I do not know, because as much as we don't want to incline it to anything political, for me to see pictures of Kandabongman meeting Museveni, yet they are performing on the same day, and Museveni giving Kandabongman 10 counts, it's enough to make me feel like this is a political thing. And definitely, Kandabongman and Chaka Chaka performing on their side, when you look at these 2 performers, Chaka Chaka would pull a bigger crowd. And again, it goes back also Balam. Balam is a very dubious, he's a businessman who does not operate on a straight line. You know, he's someone who will do anything to pull off anything. Because I wondered how Kandabongman, all of a sudden, who had just come into the country, ended up in the presence of President Museveni. I would understand President Museveni right now wants to meet anyone for publicity, just to take a picture, and those are useless people. You know, I don't want even to discuss them. And maybe this is from my own take, but from the people I've had a chance to interact with, people who are there, the journalists who are there. She was truly deported because the place where she was staying in, Pearl of Africa, was highly guarded. CFC and military was there. For someone who willingly left and went back, why was there heavy military, deployment in those areas? So and again, when I look at her, she has endorsed Bobi Wine. You remember when she was at Serena, that one, she, you know, she caught the whole country unaware. She was at Serena, Bobi Wine was there, and the endorsement and all the hugging and all, you know, this is the new Mandela. This was too much. But again, I think Museveni was scared coming from the fact that when you look at people who used their music to cause the revolution and change in South Africa, it was Chaka Chaka. Chaka Chaka and Mandela, their music did a lot in bringing change in South Africa.
Dave, if you look at the trend of Uganda right now, Mr. Museveni has made Uganda a criminal state, because everywhere they have published, CNN published, BBC published about the deportation of this lady, and this is when we've said that whoever thinks from Museveni right now, because they really hate him. I know very well that Museveni is not in operation of some of the things. Whoever is thinking and strategizing for Mr. Museveni right now is putting him in a pit, because this woman is one of the influential women in the world. This woman is among the 100 most influential women in the world. This woman was very key in the liberation of South Africa with Lucky Dube. And the name Princess of Africa, the Princess of Africa, she got it from Uganda. So this was a big shame to the country that named her the Princess of Africa. Uganda is a country that you can get the visa at the entry. It's not, in Uganda you don't get visa before you enter the country. So everywhere, if you advertise an artist, like here in the US, that's why most of them, in the need to avoid taxes, they will just tweet, they will just share in groups that this person is coming to perform at this particular event. But the moment they see a post of that individual, they might stop them or issue them a work permit to come and operate here so that they pay tax. So in Uganda, we don't have a system, because this person was advertised for almost 2 months. And the government and immigration knew that she was coming. And
they let her in. And
they let her in on a tourist visa. Well, if she came as a tourist, why didn't they allow her her time? They would block her not to go to the event, but give her time to go somewhere else, if in case she went to Chobe Park and bring in the income to the government. But due to the fact that Museveni has that Bobi Wine phobia, Museveni has the fear in him.
But countries also have policies and laws that govern the movement of foreigners, in and out.
But it's not the first time she has been in Uganda.
She has been in Uganda. This visa, she might be using the same visa.
And she had come to perform for the Karaka.
Okay, so I'm running out of time.
So Mr. Museveni, just a second. Right. Mr. Museveni discredited the Kabaka of Uganda by deporting Chaka Chaka, because Chaka Chaka was the visitor of the kingdom.
Exactly.
Chaka Chaka was a visitor to the Kabaka, because this is the annual festival that the king organizes every year. So it was a disgrace. It was really disrespectful, and internationally, even the people in South Africa, Ugandans in South Africa, were worried, because these people in South Africa were worried that if Chaka Chaka makes a statement that I'm being deported from Uganda, they could cause mayhem against Ugandans in South Africa.
All right, so guys, I want to bring in Emmanuel.
Yes, Yvonne Chaka Chaka came in, and she was given terms and conditions. Actually, she was told, if you're going to perform, you're not going to mention Bobi Wine's name, and then 2, you're not going to sing any song of yours that involves freedom.
Which is impossible.
And of course, somebody of high integrity is like, come on, you're not going to tell me to call a spoon a big spade. So she's like, I'm not going to abide by those conditions. Then she was given more options. We are either deporting you or you do voluntary departure. And then she decided to do voluntary departure. That's why when she got to South Africa, she was like, I was not deported. It was voluntary departure. But of course, she was given 2 options. We are either deporting you or you do voluntary departure.
All right.
Was it legal? Yes. Any country has, any immigration has the right to let you in, or stop you to get into its country.
All right.
But she was already in the country. Well, where were they when she went to immigration?
I mean,
they have the right to come and pick you out.
People who are stopped from coming to the US, they are not allowed to enter from the immigration point.
Yeah, from the,
you're taken back to the next point.
I think someone briefed the president. If you allow her to perform, she's going to talk about Bobi Wine, and she's going to sing songs of freedom, of which what has made Chaka Chaka popular is her songs of freedom. It is like you're telling her not to sing.
All right, guys.
Now let's go. Let's join it together. Then I summarize it there. Let me tell you, Museveni has realized that his revolution has failed because of one man, Bobi Wine. If you see, for me, I've been following Museveni for so many years, and everything has been doing. This last trek he has been doing from
Kabamba to...
No, the one that has been doing to Bilembo. You know what Cuba did, the Cuban Revolution, Fidel Castro? It was the Sierra Mountain.
From Sebastian.
Yes, it's the same trek. He went recently, last year or two, he was in Mozambique, where he went, with the Frelimo, where he trained. Now, on the last thing the last time he says his revolution is going to succeed in turning things around the way he always thought, this young man comes out, Honorable Kyagulanyi.
So I want to ask you again, with the Chaka Chaka saga, where do you see why...
Yes. Now, if someone comes in to support someone who has failed his revolution, I think what Museveni has to do, the trek is doing now, would have gone to Cuba and kneel down before the grave of this famous Cuban dictator, Fidel Castro, said, look, this young man, Honorable Kyagulanyi, has failed my revolution. How did you succeed in tying down the country? Because for the last 30 years, what Museveni has been doing good for the country is tying it down for the future and generation in a coming through like Cuba. And this woman comes to support someone that has made him fail. That's the whole thing about Chaka Chaka. There's nothing more there.
But the question I want to ask, Imran, I threw it to him when I was saying, I'm really disappointed in Buganda and the Kabaka. No. Because, let me say this. I'm really disappointed in Buganda and the Kabaka. This was a visitor to the kingdom. When I look at the documents that were submitted at the embassy, at the ambassador, because this, you do not just invite Chaka Chaka. So the documents that were submitted at the South African embassy for having Chaka Chaka come to Uganda, she was coming as a visitor of the Kabaka, performing for the Kabaka getting into the new year. And in fact, if she was around, she would have ushered the Kabaka into the new year. But you see, the Kabaka, as much as you're saying is not political, we've seen Kabaka of Uganda and its subjects and the people who work for the Kabaka making political statements or being involved or picking envelopes or picking, because if the Katiki of Uganda picks an envelope from Museveni, it is the Kabaka, he's representing the Kabaka. Why doesn't the Kabaka say no, take it back? So what I'm going to say, I'm so disappointed, and you see, the fact that these leaders continue to keep quiet, the likes of the Kabaka, the likes of religious leaders, they are going to have it rough because he may not be political, but his subjects are political.
Kabaka is not political.
His subjects are political.
No. Kabaka is not political.
The subjects are political.
Fortunately, as Chaka Chaka was being deported, the likes of Big Eye, Full Figure.
I want to thank you guys for
the kingdom had to make an official statement about it, not keeping quiet. The kingdom had to make an official statement.
The kingdom, Uganda is failing Uganda. And there would be no Uganda without Ugandans. There would be no Uganda.
I believe in Canada. Uganda is not political. Uganda is not political.
This was Chaka Chaka coming to perform.
Chaka Chaka was deported for political reasons. So the kingdom stayed aside.
Let me
She was deported on political grounds.
People can play her music anytime. People can play her music anytime.
Guys,
let me tell you, the symbol, Katikilo power right now.
People power, Bobi Wine is always at Kabaka events.
Let me tell you, the deployment.
You see what happened? When I said that Kabaka is disappointing us, you saw what happened at the beach of Bobi Wine. Who basically went to dig up the beach of Bobi Wine?
Do you believe Katikilo is guarded more than the king? Why do you think Katikilo is guarded more than the king?
But he has been working
Why do you think Katikilo is guarded more than the king?
He's not political. When human rights are being taking place, when human rights are being and the Kabaka is quiet.
So when Kabaka tells Bobi Wine, I want to come together and chat with you. So NRM would be like, Kabaka, what are you doing?
Kabaka is not political. He's not political, but human rights are being abused every day. And the kingdom is quiet.
Let me ask you guys a question, all right? Let me start with Imran. If you were expecting a visitor, and that visitor is maybe taken away, diverted or anything, and you expected to give a report, especially like the case of Uganda, wasn't the Uganda kingdom where she was supposed to perform, supposed to come out and give a statement to the Ugandans.
The grounds matter. The grounds matter. One, Kabaka is not political. And apparently,
let me put it this way.
Yes.
Let me put it this way.
I'm going to answer your question.
She did not say she came to Uganda for political reasons.
Exactly.
She came to Uganda to perform.
For the Kabaka.
But she was deported on political reasons. Apparently,
what did the kingdom say?
The kingdoms that coexist with the presence of politics, like the biggest kingdom in the world, the UK kingdom, the Queen, they never involve in any politics.
The Queen has absolute power over the Prime Minister.
Exactly.
The Queen has absolute power over the Prime Minister.
I'm going to give you guys an opportunity. I just want to finish up.
The Queen doesn't care who becomes Prime Minister of UK. The majority choose your Prime Minister, and whoever has the majority of votes in Parliament, your party, you'll get as the Prime Minister, and I'll endorse him as Prime Minister.
So, Kabaka, the kingdom. So, in my opinion, the kingdom was probably supposed to come up to say, well, our visitor was supposed to come and perform, but due to such and such,
you see, with the grounds that were given to Chaka Chaka, you're not going to do any politics at the stage, and Chaka Chaka was like, no, which is okay because she's a lady of integrity. The kingdom stopped from there because Kabaka, you come up and you're like, Chaka Chaka was coming, she was stopped. NRM. And I believe in you, Kabaka. Leave politics to us, Kabaka.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you one thing, because that's why I'm here. I was there in the Constitutional Assembly when Museveni buried the Kabaka from... the Baganda people never...
Even Obote did it.
Next week, I want you to give me some time, Richard, and I'll explain to you. We as Baganda have never consented Museveni to take the Kabaka out of politics.
Let me ask you this.
We shall never agree with that. I'm going to give you
because that's how Uganda. One question to you. Yes. One question to you.
Who tells Baganda that Uganda belongs to them?
To what happened? No. Your final take. Did the kingdom do the right thing by not responding to what happened to Chaka Chaka?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah?
Don't ask. Let me say this. For the Kabaka to steal and his institution to insinuate is not political. Yet his subjects, as a political, at the same time culture, the Kabaka is making a fool, the entire institution of the kingdom is making a fool of themselves. Because what they are doing right now, because for you to say, I'm not political, and the same subjects who are political, you want them to be cultural, then you're making a fool of yourself. Again, the things we are talking about, if human rights are abused, we've never seen, the kingdom is always quiet.
David.
But the same subjects are the ones being abused. So, does the Kabaka, is he waiting for all the Baganda to be wiped out for him to do something? Who is he going to do?
Just allow me to say something.
Just
a second.
Dave, let me submit this. The government of Mr. Museveni doesn't respect Uganda kingdom.
Exactly.
That's the first thing that we have.
Because it cannot exist. We cannot exist with Uganda being the leader of the country.
That's the first thing that we want to acknowledge.
Yes.
Mr. Museveni and his government doesn't respect Uganda kingdom. But it was so absolute. It was so absolute for the kingdom through the premier to come out and make an official statement, because the people who paid their money to go and watch Chaka Chaka
Were they refunded the money?
weren't refunded, and they had to be explained furthermore about what transpired and what failed the lady from going to sing for them, because they had to see value for their money. But if you see right now that things are happening in Uganda right now, that Katikiro is guarded more than the king. Why?
Because it's NRM. Because it's
and he's been making political statements.
David, I'll just make one point. I'll just make one point.
I want him to first finish up. I'll give you one more second.
If there is human rights abuse, we don't care if you're the king. Please come and condemn.
You see, allow me to
if anything happens, if anything goes the wrong way, come out and stand your ground.
Because it's your subject.
You see,
because these are your subjects.
All right.
You see, on the same note, we cannot have, apparently, right now we cannot have time to discuss that topic. But the biggest problem of Uganda was at its birth. The moment the English got Uganda and gave it to a kingdom in making Mutesa Sekabaka the president, that's where our problems as Uganda began from.
So you were giving a leeway.
I absolutely disagree with the involvement of politics and the kingdom, because that's our problem as Uganda.
The fact is, Chaka Chaka did not come to Uganda for political reasons. She came to Uganda to perform.
When she got in Uganda,
even her songs,
80%, they are freedom songs.
Guys, give me my time. Chaka Chaka came to Uganda to perform as a musician.
Yes.
Not for political reasons. And the government of Uganda, under President Museveni and the entire team, suggested to think that she came for political reasons. As Imran, you've said that she was deported on allegations that she was involving herself in political matters. Does that verify the reason why the Uganda kingdom, under the leadership of President Kabaka and the premier,
because
Maiga, failed to give
they did not fail
to Ugandans who paid
or refund the
money to go and watch the musician?
The kingdom did not fail to make a statement. There is somebody who's NRM who believes and thinks it was justified for the government to stop Chaka Chaka. So, and that somebody who's NRM subscribes to the same kingdom. So, when things turn to become political, the kingdom tries as much as possible to abstain from them.
Last question before I leave you, Imran. If you're being realistic to the Ugandans who paid all their monies to go and watch the musician, none of those went there for political reasons. They went there to celebrate with the king.
With the king. These are subjects of the king.
Yeah. Doesn't that make the Uganda kingdom responsible to come out clearly and explain to Ugandans the reason why they did not talk to them after what happened? Because they are still demanding for the musician, not for political reasons, but for social life. As Ugandans, as Baganda people, as Banyankole, as whoever supports the Uganda kingdom. I want to leave that to you and the viewers who agree with you. Sarah,
you see,
Sarah, it's not a mandate. It's not a command that the Uganda kingdom has to come out and apologize to Ugandans. They have a right not to, because what happened, they paid, probably, maybe they paid for her to come and perform. She also has to come out and give a reason why, after making the payments, she not come and perform.
She did.
Now, she has to explain to the Uganda kingdom.
No, but you see the hypocrisy in the Buganda Kingdom institution, and you see the problem they're facing right now, of which they're not realizing. When the culture of Buganda and the institution has been so diluted that if I ask any of you seated here, if you're Baganda, if you know also Muganda, none of you can. That's how it has been diluted. And the fact that they are continuing to stay away from the issues that are hurting Ugandans, they are going to get to a stage where they are going to get to a stage where the Kabaka has no subjects. Because the respect to the Kabaka. Let me finish up. The respect to the Kabaka of Uganda. Let me finish up. The respect to the Kabaka of Uganda is dying.
Give me 1 minute. Let me give you 1 minute.
Let me finish up.
I will give the
respect, especially when it comes to this generation, to the Kabaka of Uganda is diminishing. Because what is happening, the Kabaka of Uganda, the people, the young people of this generation, of which they are subjects of the Kabaka, of which subscribe to the political and cultural and face the socio-economic problems of Uganda, the Kabaka is quiet. But you've seen the Katikiro of Uganda making political statements. And for them to keep quiet when it comes to this, and what is annoying me, every time you have issues or you have the central government abuse human rights, the kingdom of Uganda is quiet. But the people they are abusing, these are Uganda.
Okay.
These are their subjects.
That's not true.
The Prime Minister,
your final take?
The issue of Uganda, as you said, is constitutional, because I was there in the Constitutional Assembly. I'll give you the story one time. Clearly, I'm going to give you an example. United Arab Emirates has kingdom and is under federation. It is the constitution that is made by the people the way they want. I'm going to give you another country. Botswana.
Very many countries.
Botswana has kingdoms.
Yes.
And it got independence almost in the same time as Buganda, 1962 or 1964 and 1966. It has been peaceful because of the constitution that was made to benefit the Ugandan. Museveni came out directed to prohibit the kingdom of Uganda and the Kabaka of Uganda to interfere into the politics, because he wanted to destroy Uganda so that he can rule and his movement forever of the country.
All right, thank you.
We don't agree with that.
Thank you. Imran, your final take, then Badru, I'll give you also the opportunity and then we'll be out.
I may not have a chance to react on each and everything.
Right.
Was the Constitutional Assembly right to stop kingdoms from evolving in politics? Yes. They were absolutely right. Good. You see, if a free state, like I'll give an example of the United States, they are clear. Religion and politics, no, don't bring church in our politics.
But we see the evangelicals.
Of course, they'll tend to influence. But religion, kingdoms, they should not influence politics, because politics tends to be there is a lot of tension in politics. So when things get political, religion, if you're a bishop, you're a reverend, abstain. Unless when there is a human rights crisis. But who should I vote?
Dave, your final take? Yeah, Dave, thank you so much. Right now, what we are seeing in Uganda, Mr. Museveni has brought kingdoms, and these kingdoms that have been there for long, he has again brought chiefdoms. Mr. Museveni, right now, the Basoga have a king who has been there, because we knew only 3 kings in Uganda. We had the Buganda king, we had the Busoga king, and we had the Bunyoro king.
And Ankole.
What about
that? Exactly.
How about Toro?
But Toro. But Mr. Museveni has brought chiefdoms. He has divided. In Soroti, they have a king. There is a chiefdom in Soroti. There is a chiefdom in Imbale. There is a chiefdom in Karamoja. There is a chiefdom in Gulu. So these are all tactics of Mr. Museveni to dilute everything, to dilute culture.
That's true, but
Mr. Museveni doesn't respect any kingdom because he feels he gives them money. But when it comes to human rights abuses, they shouldn't shun out. Because initially...
Yes. Politics and human rights move together.
Initially, at the start of Uganda as a country, the king was the president.
That was the biggest mistake the British did to Uganda.
Now, you cannot tell me that the kingdoms should shun away from politics, yet these are subjects who are victims.
Exactly.
Like the reverends, the pastors, and all those bishops. They should speak about these things transpiring.
But they're getting free cars and envelopes.
Because right now they're driving expensive cars and they're exploiting people.
I want to thank you guys for all your submissions. I'm sure that the public will judge whether it was right for the kingdom of Uganda not to address the public.
They should refund the money. They should refund the money of the subjects.
So I'm going to leave that to the public, and I think it's going to be an open discussion for even people who are watching us back at home. They're going to really think so much critical about it, whether it was right for the president, for the Uganda kingdom, not to address the public over the issue of Chaka Chaka. Up to today, they're now almost 3 days that have already passed.
5.
Or 5 days, actually 3 days probably. We haven't had anything. So we want to thank you, our viewers, and who have always supported our programs here on Campfire Television. As we promised, this year we're coming up with 6 more shows. So it's gonna be a busy year, not just politically, but also in our social lives. We may have entertainment and other things. So I want to thank you so much for always watching Uganda at Crossroads. It's always tough as it is. People have different opinions. They sometimes agree and disagree. That's what politics is all about, and we have to accommodate each and every individual. So we want to thank you so much. Guys, I want to thank you for always giving me your time and the opportunity to come and we discuss together. And I hope to see you again next Saturday, same time, to break down the key issues. So normally in this show, I don't normally give you the opportunity to give your closing remarks. It's a unique show, so I want to thank you again. But for you all viewers, it's 2020. You promised yourself towards the end of the year that you're going to do might and miracle things this year. But you should remember that politics drives a lot of things in your country, Uganda, or even those who are watching us from other parts of the world. Think about this year. Work so hard. Again, poor people are always given what to do. Rich people participate. Have a great week. See you next Saturday.
No politics.